What's going on, guys? Nick here for another tutorial, and today I'm going to be going over another layout within Cinema 4D. Yesterday I had covered the sculpting layout, which I had used to kind of sculpt this duck kind of looking thing. It's a little odd, but I just made something random, made something quick, and I applied a white texture on it. And today I'm going to be going over the Body Paint 3D layout within Cinema 4D. And it lets you use various tools for applying specific materials to specific parts very easily. So instead of trying to select polygons and applying materials to polygons, you can just paint them. So before I begin with this, I don't know a lot about it. I'm just going to tell you guys what I know and what I kind of figured out when I was messing around with it. So the first thing that I think that we got to do is under here there's this paint setup wizard. You're going to go ahead and click it, and then it's going to ask you what objects you want to apply your paint materials to. So it's our spheres, the ones that make up this little duck face. The rest are just lights and camera, so we don't need that. So I'm going to click next. This I just leave as default, and then it's going to ask you to make a color for our duck, so I can make it kind of a yellowish orangish, and we click OK, and then we just go finish. And it kind of gives our entire object one color, the color that we choose. So we have this yellowish color to the duck. And on the side here, we have a bunch of options. It's a lot like a Photoshop layout. There's a blur tool, there's a draw text, there's the eyedropper, there's a gradient, there's an eraser, yada yada. But the one that most people are going to use is this brush. So if we click on the brush, when we hover over our object, we get this tiny little circle, and that's the size of our brush. So we can come into here and we could change the size of our brush. We can change the hardness, so it's very hard edge. You can change the pressure, which will make it slightly transparent. Spacing is the same as the other one. I just leave it on. It doesn't really make too much of a difference. But yeah, so then when we come down here to the color, this is the color that the paintbrush is going to apply. So let's say I want to make the beak kind of a darker orange. So I'll set the beak to a nice color that I want, and when we click and drag, now we're applying this color to the areas where we think the color should go. So you could always be, I'm just doing this quickly, it's pretty messy, but you can clean it up pretty easily too. So you can just paint areas. There's a couple little areas here that I accidentally smudged. So what you can do is just grab the eyedropper, choose the color that you had on the rest of your thing, and then you can go back over them and just get rid of some of those little trouble spots, like so. And you can go on and do that for the rest. There's also these lasso tools. There's I'll use the lasso one, but what this one does is you can select a path where you want to apply a color to. So I accidentally cut the top off there a little bit, but it mapped out all of this so far. It's a little rough, but I'm just showing you guys for this. There's a gradient, there's the fill bucket. So I'll grab the fill bucket, and I want to make this white. So I'll just click, and whatever was selected by our tool is now white. So if you're doing large areas, you can do that, or if you want to change the entire face of our duck here. Okay. Usually when you have a path selected, it won't let you do anything. So just reselect your lasso tool, click off to the side, and it'll kind of correct it. So if you want, you can change your entire duck white with an orange beak. This is what happens when you have the hardness. It gives a pretty hard line like this. So if you come back in, you can drop the hardness down, and I'll drop the size down a little bit. And when it's not such a hard line, it gives it a softer fade too. A little bit nicer to look at. I mean, nobody's probably going to realize it unless you're staring right at it. Cut where the vector paths were kind of left some areas yellow. But yeah, so there's not too much. I mean, there's little erase. You can erase it back to black. Also with the paintbrush here, we have our one color set to white, but if you right click it, it actually applies black. I believe it's because of this one here. If you double click on these two squares, you can set what you want your second color to. So here we go. So now if I right click, it's green, and if I left click, it's white. You can see here. You can set the shape of your brush. You can click on, there's a little arrow here you can click on to kind of get different brush kind of maps. I don't know, it's weird. I don't know why you would want it, some of these, but maybe you're just trying to give a funky design to your little to the duck. We don't need that. So it's pretty straightforward if you've, it's kind of like a Photoshop paint kind of hybrid. We'll just go back to the normal one. But yeah, so if you mess around in these settings, it's pretty easy to get a hang of. There's not too many complicated things. There's the gradient tool. I don't know what this second one is. Doesn't really seem to do much. So, like I said, I haven't really messed around much in this little program, but I figured I'd bring what I know about the 3D body paint to you guys so that you can use it and expedite your material mapping. And then when you come back into your standard layout, you can see it carries the textures over for you, like so. But when you do go to save them, it's going to ask if you want to save the texture changes, and then it does some things. I just clicked yes right through them. I'm not going to do it because I already had textures applied. Actually, what the heck? We'll go here. It didn't do it for me because I already saved textures on this file, but last time I did it, it gave me a few prompt windows, and I just had to, I think, configure the texture maps or something like that. But enough rambling on. Hopefully you guys found that useful and interesting, and hopefully it could help you in the future with some of your projects. Alright guys, if you liked the video, leave a like down below, and if you like all the videos we've been putting out, go ahead and subscribe because there'll be much more where that came from. I will talk to you guys all next time. See ya.